You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area.
This local forecast is brought to you by Homeocan. When it hurts, think trauma care.
It is Thursday, July 17th. We got a brand new episode of In the Know. And we've got Laura Power, Chris Murphy with you. Laura, what are some of the key themes we'll be discussing here today?
Murph, we're going to talk about the heat breaking in the coming days, a storm risk across the east as well as the west.
All right, before we get to that though, poor air quality as a result of wildfire smoke has been a big story, particularly in Western Canada, but there's been, days as well in portions of Eastern Canada, that smoky haze, and certainly outside we cannot control that poor air quality, but what about inside our homes?
With wildfire smoke and fine particulate matter filling our air on an increasingly regular basis, you may be wondering at what air quality index level you should be. Staying indoors, keeping children from playing outside, closing your windows, or looking into an air purifier? Well, the answer to all of these questions is...
Since everybody's different and unique, that we can't really say one size fits all or one number fits all.
Generally, a 1 is clean. No need to have concerns. Over 10 means everyone should take precautions. However, every number in between is not cut and dry.
Every little bit of an increase in air pollution leads to an increased risk. As it's going up, how are we feeling?
If you do feel throat irritation or coughing, or your eyes are running. That's the beauty of the inflammatory response. It's a quick response of our body to fix damage or to attack invading microbes, in this case with wildfire smoke.
A normal, healthy adult may just need to be more aware and monitor those symptoms when the air quality levels are moderate from 5 to 6.
For a vulnerable person, as defined by the Air Quality Health Index, At level 5, we would basically say, you should be considering stopping what you do outside, in particular anything strenuous, and moving it indoors or postponing it until the level's below 4. If it's 10 plus, we say matter of fact legal. You should be inside and should not be outside. That's the vulnerable population.
But what is the point when the average adult should actually stay indoors? Levels between 8 to 9 would make sense to make shifts in how much you are exposed. Poor air quality could be a trigger or exacerbate many health conditions. The same goes for children and healthy seniors. Think more of a 7 to 8 on the index as a good place to start making some alternate indoor plans.
All right, so being prepared against poor air quality, and also how about the high heat? That has been the big story for the last week in a lot of communities in Eastern Canada, but we're going to see this start to break, Laura.
Yeah, Murph, we're going to finally see a relief from the muggy conditions, but we got to get through Thursday first. Humidix value of 35 in St. John's. That is got to be one of your warmest days, but still holding on to some 40s.
But we're seeing that heat break in southern Ontario through the day, through the evening further east, and through the day tomorrow across Atlantic Canada. So there is some hope and some relief en route, but there's going to be a price to be paid for some of these, for that pressure air.
Yeah, as that system moves through and stability rises, we get a couple areas to really focus on for severe likely, where we could see some tornadic activity.
Yeah, but just going to show you here. So you got 4 hazards: strong winds, torrential rain, large hail, and 1 or 2 tornadoes. It doesn't mean you're going to get all 4. It just means you could get at least one of those. And I think the torrential rain will be the most widespread. After all, it has been so humid. There's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. Through the morning hours in southern Ontario, that's your greatest risk of showers and storms moving eastward. So early afternoon to late afternoon, that's really when we start to see the focus from eastern Ontario to Quebec, Laura.
Yeah, and by the evening, it really intensifies down the St. Lawrence for the eastern townships as well. And we're seeing some pretty daunting rainfall totals after we did see already plenty through the Montreal region
Absolutely. So today is a day to be weather aware. Meanwhile, across Newfoundland, still dealing with some fires. There's some rain in your forecast, the heavier rains, though, further north.
Plan your summer getaways with us. Check out the forecast for your next vacation filled with camping, golf, hikes, and outdoor adventures.
Stay informed with the latest news on wildfires, including safety tips and impacts in your local area. Just scan the QR code. Only from the Weather Network.
I love my kids, but I also love not being broke. So this back to school season, I'm just gonna spend less on them. Amazon has low prices on everything kids need. Like a water bottle they definitely won't lose. Tablets, sports stuff, for whatever sport this is. All the latest, lit, Brizzy Riz clothes. And lunch boxes for a homemade meal that they'll barely touch.
What?
So spend less on your little freeloaders with Amazon.
Look at that hottie, the Takis Fuego meal. Wendy's spicy chicken topped with crushed Takis chips and Fuego fries inspired by Takis. So Takis fans, you're welcome. And new Takis fans, good luck. New Takis Fuego chicken sandwich only at Wendy's.
Salon Pas salutes you. People working hard to improve the world. You inspired us to improve these. Salon Pas pain relieving patches, 20% larger, with improved adhesion and more medicine to fight pain than ever before. Salon Pas, the patch you love, improved.
He sent me to.
This bra show has those shoes you've been looking for.
What? Bid for me.
Look, you won!
Yes! Can you sell my stuff on there like that?
You can.
I'm gonna make so much money.
Download the Poshmark app to discover all the ways you can buy and sell today.
The Mi'kmaq word for Cape Breton Island is Unama'ki, which means land of fog. Cape Breton is known for being a foggy place, and has been home to the Mi'kmaq people for centuries.
You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area.
This local forecast has been brought to you by Bathway, the tub cutting people. Visit bathway.ca.
All right, so very glad you could join us on the Weather Network Thursday, July 17th. And we're going to be focusing here on Newfoundland and Labrador because we've got wildfires there. We've got a story coming up very shortly. It's a heart-wrenching one, to be sure. It's been hot. It has been largely dry. And the heat alerts continue today, not only in Newfoundland, but in the Maritimes and still parts of eastern Ontario and southern Quebec. Let's take a look here. Gander 33. When you factor in the humidex, though, it's going to feel like 39, and you're going to feel that humidity right across the east coast in general, cooler air by the coast. Now, the humid air will be zapping out of it, the atmosphere there, through tomorrow in the Maritimes and by Friday night into Newfoundland. But until we get to all of that, here's an update on what's been happening with some of the fires in Newfoundland.
It was like a war zone. There was propane tanks exploding. It was like, sounded like bombs, and you just couldn't see nothing. And there was like 10 or 15 boats of us just watching.
Newfoundland resident Ryan Pitts was still coming to terms with the loss felt in his community days after a sudden wildfire turned on Chance Harbor.
In Pudding Cove, which is the cove my aunt and uncle's cabin were in, there was 21 cabins. And as of today, there's one left.
Is the cabin still there now, your aunt and uncle's?
Nope, they're all gone.
On July 14th, Pitt says he was at home in nearby Canning's Cove when he was alerted by his parents that there was a fire. He could see the smoke from his house.
It was about 3 hours after it started. They had sent me another message. He said, we're back in Pudding Cove and the flames are starting to get close to the cabins. And I looked out again and I sort of was like, what?
Pitts then jumped into his own boat and made the 45-minute journey to Pudding Cove.
By the time I got out there, we couldn't even see in the cove. The cove was buried in smoke.
Several other cabins were lost in the adjacent coves, a place that was a second home for much of the nearby towns, some of which remained on evacuation alert as Pitt spoke with us.
It's still not over. There's still a lot of worry.
Officials said on Wednesday that the fires weren't expected to reach those communities, but that weather can change quickly. Pitt spent time on his boat sending messages and photos of the situation to several cabin owners he was in contact with. As the fire raged on, it claimed more and more places.
25 years of memories, and you're watching it burn. Nothing you can do.
Pitts added that the weather in recent years has been far warmer than when he was a kid, and added that winter access has become harder due to less ice to support snowmobiles. Many, he said, will not rebuild.
A lot of heartbreak and a lot of money, a lot of hard work over the years. Just gone pretty well in the blink of an eye.
Oh man, that is heart-wrenching. And let's talk about the wind. Now the wind today, a little breezy out of the south, going to be another hot one. And tomorrow those gusts could go 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. Again, largely a southerly wind, and then things will cool down for Saturday. Regarding rainfall, some showers across Newfoundland and the Maritimes, but the bulk of the rain will be further north. Okay, when we come back, an update on the heat and the storms that'll put an end to that heat. That's up next.
Looking for help on our weather products and services? We've got you covered with our Help Center.
You need to hear this, so listen up.
This program is brought to you by Mitsubishi Motors Canada. Whatever your ambition is, drive it.
It's one thing to just listen to the music, but it's another to really feel it.
And that's the magic inside the 2025 Mitsubishi Outlander. The dynamic sound Yamaha system fills the cabin in the most amazing way.
With 5 different listening positions, you get optimal sound no matter where you sit.
And if the weather shifts, as Canadian summers do, that perfect audio experience continues undisturbed as it adjusts for the air conditioning or the changing noises of the road. So your Symphony plays on nicely no matter what the conditions are outside.
This isn't just about getting you there comfortably. This car can easily do that. It's about transforming your summer drives with a sonic experience.
To provide feedback on our regional audio description weather reports or to report any barriers to enjoying our services, email us at accessibility@pelmorex.com.
I love my kids, but I also love not being broke. So this back-to-school season, I'm just gonna spend less on them. Amazon has low prices on everything kids need. Like a water bottle they definitely won't lose. Tablets, sports stuff, for whatever sport this is. All the latest, lit, Rizzy Riz clothes. And lunch boxes for a homemade meal that they'll barely touch.
What?
So spend less on your little freeloaders with Amazon.
Hi, Phil Swift here. Everyone trusts Flex Seal Liquid to stop leaks fast.
I'm not sure what magic you guys do, but the stuff is incredibly durable.
Flex Liquid, again, I just rolled it. Boom, I'm done. I'm off the roof.
Cracks, leaks, foundations, you name it. And it rains a lot where I live, so I need to seal the roof. I lined it with the Flex Seal Liquid. No leaks.
With millions sold, people everywhere trust Flex Seal Liquid. Get Flex Seal Liquid.
This summer, adventure starts at zero with the Jeep 0% sales event. Right now, get 0% financing for 72 months on the 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee, the SUV that takes zero shortcuts on design and performance. Or lock in 0% financing for 72 months plus $2,000 in bonus cash on the 2025 Jeep Compass, bringing zero limits to where you can go next. It's the Jeep 0% sales event. Offers end July 31st, giving you zero reasons to wait.
Because sometimes we feel guilty. Give more love than humanly possible.
when you feed a Hill's scientifically proven formula. Because you're only human, there's Hill's.
You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area.
We're social. Follow us on these social media platforms to see our trending content.
Tornado warnings in Wisconsin. We begin here at home. A series of storms hit the Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean area in Quebec on Wednesday, resulting in a possible tornado with significant damage being reported by residents and flooding in some areas. Residents in the Chicoutimi area reported significant damage to trees and buildings. Plumes of smoke filled the skies in western Iceland on Wednesday, July 16th, following the most recent volcanic eruption. The magma flow was not thought to be any threat to any infrastructure and was far from the town of Grinavik. And a funnel cloud was spotted whirling in southern Wisconsin on Wednesday, July 16th, amid a tornado warning for the area. The National Weather Service described the storm as a life-threatening situation in its tornado warning.
Well, let's get back into your forecast. We have a couple days left of the work week before we head into what should be a beautiful start to the weekend. Having fun here in Hammonds Plains, Nova Scotia. My goodness, I think I pulled a muscle just looking at whatever this contraption is, but looks like some kids having a blast. That's what summer's all about. That is a very elaborate play structure there. Let's turn our attention to the weather. We are feeling the heat, so cooling off in the water like we just saw there. The kind of thing to do today because we have heat warnings still in effect for a good portion of Atlantic Canada. Here's a look at some of our feels like values today. Yes, the humidity very much a factor. Feeling like 40 in Gander for our Thursday afternoon. Feeling like 39 for Edmundston, Miramichi, and Moncton. Fredericton right in that neighborhood too, feeling like 38. Now we do see for our Friday, some will be hanging on to the humidity. You can see Halifax, but with that, a chance of some thunderstorms as well. Now for Fredericton, we'll get some relief from the humidity on Friday. One thing we're seeing across the board is a beautiful Saturday. So the weekend getting off to a great start, but maybe going to be followed up by some cooler temperatures and some rain showers. But let's focus on how we're leading up to that. You can see late tonight into the early part of our Friday, the moisture is going to be moving through. So yes, for some, it could be a little bit of inclement weather for the final day of the work week for our Friday afternoon. You see late afternoon into our Friday evening, that front and some associated showers pushing into Newfoundland and Labrador. And for our Friday, yes, a chance of some non-severe thunderstorm activity. And here's a look at some of that scattered active weather across the region. Not the nicest looking Friday for Newfoundland. And yes, parts of Nova Scotia, including Halifax, could see some storms moving through on our Friday. Now, turning our attention to those heat warnings, yes, we are still very much dealing with the sweltering conditions. And with that, with the active weather moving through on Friday, we do have some pretty gusty winds, and that is concerning particularly for Newfoundland, where the wildfire situation is being closely monitored, and those winds can really add quite the challenge for firefighters tackling those blazes. Looking at our next 7 days, yes, starting on Sunday, cooler temperatures move in.
All right, let's take a look at Share Your Weather. Begin in Cobalt, Ontario, and thank you very much, Mark, for sharing this. Mark Fulford. And Home Fires was known as the hazy conditions, yeah, smoky skies. And from there, we'll go to Neebing, Ontario, and a beautiful property you've got there, Arlene, and she's been appreciating the rain. And look at this amazing photo right here. What a Chinook salmon, proud Papa Mike and his son Owen. Look at Owen. It's like yeah, just another trophy fish. I've done it 1,000 times. So thank you very much. Congratulations. What a beautiful specimen there. All right. Beautiful sunset in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Thank you to the gentleman at Mine, New Brunswick. It has been hot. It has been humid in New Brunswick as well. It will be again today, but cooler air for the weekend. Chicoutimi, Quebec, dealing with some heavy rain showers. This was the scene yesterday. More storms in the forecast in eastern Ontario and Quebec. And we'll end things off in Cowley, where we've got some beautiful foliage on the ground.
Wherever you are, get a precise weather forecast by activating your location in the Weather Network app.
For our blind and low vision viewers, the Weather Network offers regional audio description weather reports during our local forecast.
With Amazon's low back-to-school prices, you can spend less on school supplies, backpacks, and lunch boxes.
Crust again?
Yeah, again. Spend less on your kids with Amazon.
Welcome to Frosty Farms, home of Wendy's 99-cent Frosty. Raised right, free range, of course, made with Canadian dairy. It's farm to Frosty. Get a small Wendy's Frosty for just 99 cents.
At Wayfair, we get pretty excited about furniture. Around here, it's not a patio, it's a patio.
Oh, I love those chairs.
Shed-tastic.
Girl, you nailed it.
No, this set, it's just a couple of screws.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
When I grow up, I want to be an astronaut,
Kids have big dreams.
a dancer, firefighter, a hockey player. I want to be addicted to drugs.
Wait. No kid says that. Addiction is not a choice. It's an illness, and it's treatable. Look past the illness to the person inside. The dreams are still there. Our words, our attitudes can help people with addiction recover and reclaim their dreams.
In Inuit culture, the Big Dipper constellation is known as Tuktukjurit. Instead of a dipper or bears, they see a caribou or herd of caribou.
I love my kids, but I also love not being broke. So this back to school season, I'm just gonna spend less on them. Amazon has low prices on everything kids need. Like a water bottle they definitely won't lose. Tablets, sports stuff, for whatever sport this is. All the latest, lit, Rizzy Riz clothes. And lunch boxes for a homemade meal that they'll barely touch.
What?
So spend less on your little freeloaders with Amazon.
You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area.
This local forecast has been brought to you by Bathway, the tub cutting people. Visit bathway.ca.
Active weather coverage here for Thursday, July the 17th. So glad you can give us a few minutes for your weather briefing. And we'll be talking about thunderstorms and high heat, Thousand Islands, Ontario. And just look at that lightning lighting up the night sky. And stormy weather, we've been dealing with that in Quebec many times over the summer. And the threat is high again today. So glad you could join us on the Weather Network. You know, Matt Hamill, you did such a good job yesterday. I invited you back today. So we like what we see here. We could really divide the country almost in half. We've got a lot of smoky skies in parts of the west, and we've got heat and stormy weather in the east. Let's start with the storms and the heat. First of all, Matt, how have you been sleeping lately?
Yeah, you know, Murph, it's been tough. The overnight temperatures just remain quite sweltering, but that's looking like it's going to change here.
Look how cranky he is, right? That's a lack of sleep, folks. All right, now it's still pretty muggy in southern Ontario, even though those heat alerts have been canceled by Environment Canada. But Ottawa, Cornwall, and Montreal, you're still going to feel like 40. But overnight, isn't this good? You could open up that window.
Yeah, it's about time, Murph. And as you can see, we're going to be seeing quite the contrast to some of these overnight temperatures that have remained so high and contributed to these heat warnings.
So what's going to happen between today and tonight is really the main crux of this segment here. Now, when we're showing you the red, we don't show red on the map all that often. It means severe storms are likely. Now, you look at our hazards: strong wind gusts, torrential rain, large hail, 1 or 2 tornadoes. Doesn't mean you're going to get all 4. You're going to to get at least one of the 4. And I think torrential rain is going to be the most widespread thing here, Matt.
Yeah, no doubt, Murph. But of course, yeah, the areas in red where we have those stronger storms, those rotating storms, there's that potential there. Yeah.
All right, let's walk you through. We've had heavy rain through northeastern Ontario, through sections of cottage country. Now, through the early afternoon, there might be the odd straggler of a storm around the GTA, but generally your threat is over. The more severe weather, eastern Ontario. Get towards the Ottawa Valley, Laurentians as well into Quebec, and then through the afternoon, that continues to press its way eastwards. Montreal, I'm going to stop this at 7 o'clock. Matt, you know, you're a big football fan.
Yes,
tonight. Kickoff is 7:30 at Molson Percival Stadium between the Alouettes and the Argos. I think the storms by then should be winding down. So if the game is delayed, it should only be for a little while. Stormy weather moving east. Look at that, New Brunswick, Quebec, and Maine border.
Yeah, so quite a stormy day. Kind of timing out the progression there, but things are going to be quite nice behind this, Murph. A gorgeous looking Friday is ahead.
All right, yeah, you got the Indy, the Honda Indy in Toronto, and maybe getting out and do some golfing and take a look at the next 3 days in Toronto, Ottawa. Beautiful Friday, beautiful Saturday, maybe a passing storm in Ottawa. But the big thing is the high heat and humidity, that is gone. All right, how about further east?
Yeah, Murph, we're still seeing these heat warnings hanging on for some. It's going to be another day of some pretty good humidity, especially for the Maritimes. You see those heat warnings blanketing the region, but some of this stormy weather from Ontario and Quebec will start to factor in, especially later today into tomorrow.
Absolutely. So northern western areas of New Brunswick, heads up. Could be severe weather. Perhaps some early morning storms around the Halifax area. That's the front that will help sweep out the humidity. Passing showers and storms into Newfoundland. I wish it was more rain. The heaviest rain, though, up towards Labrador. So that's the east in the general. Let's go to the west now.
Okay, Murph. Yes, air quality, wildfires impacting a number of provinces, right? Particularly Saskatchewan, Manitoba, but even into the territories. And Murph, our air quality advisories reflecting that and looking at some of that smoke in the atmosphere right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's still there. So many fires still burning, large ones at that. Risk of thunderstorms. Now, this map looks very widespread, but the best chance of anything severe, likely near the U.S. border in Alberta and Saskatchewan, could be getting even the odd funnel cloud, certainly some locally heavier rains. We've seen that in Calgary, but up in the fire zones, these showers are very, very isolated and scattered and could be accompanied by thunderstorms. All right, the pattern in the west is a little on the cool side if you're in Alberta especially.
No doubt, Murph. The cool temperatures continue for parts of the prairies. Calgary helping to highlight that, even for areas like southern British Columbia, Murph.
Indeed.
Another day of warmth today before a cooler pattern sets in.
Plan your summer getaways with us. Check out the forecast for your next vacation filled with camping, golf, hikes, and outdoor adventures.
In some indigenous lore, the sun was kept in a box by a chief in the sky. Raven changed himself into a toddler who begged to play with the box. Once the chief looked away, the raven flew back to Earth, creating daylight.
Attention parents, spend less on your kids with Amazon's low back-to-school prices. Save on school supplies, backpacks, and so much more. Can I have that back? Absolutely. Wanna take it.
Tim's Loaded Bowls now bring more to the table. More chicken, that is. Served in habanero, barbecue crispy chicken, and cilantro lime. Mealtime differently with Tim's Loaded Bowls, now with more seasoned chicken.
Salonpas salutes you. People working hard to improve the world. You inspired us to improve these. Salonpas pain relieving patches, 20% larger, with improved adhesion and more medicine to fight pain than ever before. Salonpas, the patch you love, improved.
He sent me to.
Wait, come back! Wait, come back, I need more help.
Take a loan off him. Take a loan for free.
Today we went to the beach, and it was totally worth it.
Stay 3 nights this summer at Best Western and get $50 off a future stay.
Poshmark is the perfect side hustle. It got me through school, a new job, and getting into my first apartment. There's so much I can sell. And now listing is even easier with Poshmark's Smart List AI feature. I just take a pic and let Smart List do the rest. I love it.
I love my kids, but I also love not being broke. So this back to school season, I'm just gonna spend less on them. Amazon has low prices on everything kids need. Like a water bottle they definitely won't lose. Tablets, sports stuff, for whatever sport this is. All the latest, lit, Rizzy Riz clothes. And lunch boxes for a homemade meal that they'll barely touch.
What?
So spend less on your little freeloaders with Amazon.
You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area.
We now offer 6 different layers on our map, such as radar, temperature, and highway conditions. Try them out today.
Well, hope your Thursday is off to a good start. This is Weather AM. We're going to be talking about the forecast. Heat and hazy skies has certainly been a factor this week. Paradise, Newfoundland, a little time-lapse footage here. A beautiful, beautiful sight, but certainly getting a sense of some of that wildfire smoke in the atmosphere. Wildfires in Newfoundland, along with some smoke tracking over from other wildfires, more so in the prairies, has been something we've noticed. But the heat is something that there's no doubt we've been noticing across the region. Heat warnings remain in effect for the Maritimes and a good portion of Newfoundland. So taking a look at our temperatures today, yeah, it is certainly a hot summer day, a mid-July day. Temperatures in the low 30s, and it's not just the heat, as they say. It's the humidity. Take a look here at some of our feels-like values. Gander today, 34, feeling like 40, and those humidex values scraping the 40 mark are also very much present in the Maritimes. Now, if you're looking for some tips on how to beat the heat, here's Nathan Coleman with some of those.
Delicious and nutritious. The item at the top of anyone's list to keep cool during a heat warning should of course be water. If you find it a bit flavorless, add some fruit. My personal fave is a few frozen blueberries. I'm out here at Crystal Crescent Beach. I asked people what kind of food item did they bring along to help stay cool.
My favorite is watermelon. There's so much moisture that you can get from it.
Like a slushie or freezy, that kind of stuff?
We packed watermelon today to stay cool.
No surprises that watermelon is a popular choice. It's in the name. Watermelon, about 90% water, so great for hydration. There you go, you just pull it out, got a watermelon pop. The water content of cucumbers is about 95%. Chop these into sticks as well, and you've got another light hydrating snackaroo. Greek yogurt is a great source of protein, and you've got vitamins and minerals. Add a few of those blueberries in there, and you've got enhanced hydration. Leafy greens like spinach are high in fiber, but don't eat it like this. You want to mix it together with a salad, but you can enjoy the meal, get your energy, and you don't feel so heavy. You want to avoid salty foods high in sodium like chips, deli meats, and canned soups because you'll end up dehydrated and thirsty, making it harder to stay hydrated.
Well, thank you, Nathan. Some great tips there. Hydration will be paramount on a day like today. And yeah, I think a slice of cold watermelon also sounds like a pretty great idea. Now, part of the reason why it is so sweltering is the humidity. Here's a look at some of the atmospheric moisture that we're working with. The good news is, as Friday, tomorrow still will be a bit humid for some, but heading into the weekend, we get some relief. Now, today, with some of the humidity and the energy in the atmosphere, and looking ahead into tomorrow, we do have a chance of some thunderstorm activity for parts of the region. Now, here's a look at how things are playing out. Parts of Newfoundland getting a little bit of showers, but this evening, this low pressure system looks to be bringing a formidable pocket of moisture through the region. Now, we're going to get a bit of that here in Atlantic Canada. You can see Nova Scotia into our Friday morning. Tomorrow could be getting some pockets of rainfall, maybe some thunderstorm activity moving through. And then late into the evening, some moisture for Newfoundland along that cold front. But as we mentioned, heading into a pretty nice Saturday.
Did you change your cell phone? Make sure to download the Weather Network app. Get everything you need to better plan your day or weekend.
It's summertime in Canada, and that means about 57,000 beluga whales are now on the move, migrating south through Hudson's Bay. You can see and hear the spectacle for yourself on a beluga cam equipped with a hydrophone, so you can hear the whales' vocalizations too. The camera is being hosted by Polar Bears International on a brand new beluga boat, all part of the Beluga Bits Citizen Science Project to raise awareness about the importance of sea ice, not only for polar bears, but belugas too. With the Arctic warming nearly 4 times faster than the rest of the planet, the nonprofit is hoping the cam will raise awareness about the importance of sea ice. Belugas use it to hide from orcas, and with it melting, there are additional threats of increased commercial shipping that bring more underwater noise, threatening beluga communication and navigation. Arctic-wide, summer Arctic sea ice extent is shrinking by 12.2% per decade due to warmer temperatures, according to NASA. You can watch the beluga cam at explore.org.
To provide feedback on our regional audio description weather reports or to report any barriers to enjoying our services, email us at accessibility@pelmorex.com.
Attention! Socket Fan is now available for purchase in Canadian dollars and ships from our Canadian warehouse too. Details are on the way.
When you're hot, nothing feels better than the gentle cooling breeze of the ceiling fan, right? The problem is you're going to spend hundreds of dollars on the fan and just as much to have it installed. Not anymore. This is the revolutionary Socket Fan by Bell & Howell. The amazing 2-in-1 ceiling fan and light literally takes 10 seconds to install. Let me show you. If you can screw in a light bulb, you can hang the Socket Fan light. Is that easy or is that easy? Socket Fan comes with this handy remote. You've got 3 light settings and 3 fan settings with a push of a button. You can control the light and the breeze that you need. Socket Fan fits any standard light socket. And if you have deep recessed lights, just use the socket extender. Closets and bathrooms can be stuffy and smelly, but Socket Fan constantly circulates and refreshes the air all around you. If you want a ceiling fan and light installed, well then you need a professional contractor. Or You can do it yourself and install Socket Fan in less than 10 seconds. So easy. Socket Fan delivers portable, powerful, cool, refreshing air and bright light wherever and whenever you need it.
And now, the Socket Fan Lights with Deep Socket Extender is yours for $59.99 Canadian, with free shipping from our Canadian warehouse. Order now, and you can get a second fan for 50% off, and the shipping is free. And when you order, learn how to get the contractor's discount on the family-sized Socket Fan set.
Get cool fast with Socket Fan. Here's how to order.
To order your Socket Fan, call 1-800-863-3992 or go to socketfan.ca. So call 1-800-863-3992. That's 1-800-863-3992 or order online at socketfan.ca. Order now.
You're watching Canada's Weather Network. To help you plan your activities in the coming days, here are the short and long-term forecasts for your area.
Social. Follow us on these social media platforms to see our trending content.
Tornado warnings in Wisconsin. We begin here at home. A series of storms hit the Saguenay-Lac-Saint-Jean area in Quebec on Wednesday, resulting in a possible tornado with significant damage being reported by residents and flooding in some areas. Residents in the Chicoutimi area reported significant damage to trees and buildings. Plumes of smoke filled the skies in western Iceland on Wednesday, July 16th, following the most recent volcanic eruption. The magma flow was not thought to be any threat to any infrastructure and was far from the town of Grindavik. And a funnel cloud was spotted whirling in southern Wisconsin on Wednesday, July 16th amid a tornado warning for the area. The National Weather Service described the storm as a life-threatening situation in its tornado warning. Well, let's let's get back into your forecast. We have a couple days left of the work week before we head into what should be a beautiful start to the weekend. Having fun here in Hammonds Plains, Nova Scotia. My goodness, I think I pulled a muscle just looking at whatever this contraption is, but looks like some kids having a blast. That's what summer's all about. That is a very elaborate play structure there. Let's turn our attention to the weather. We are feeling the heat, so cooling off in the water like we just saw there. The kind of thing to do today, because we have heat warnings still in effect for a good portion of Atlantic Canada. Here's a look at some of our feels like values today. Yes, the humidity very much a factor. Feeling like 40 in Gander for our Thursday afternoon. Feeling like 39 for Edmundston, Miramichi, and Moncton. Fredericton right in that neighborhood too, feeling like 38. Now we do see for our Friday, some will be hanging on to the humidity. You can see Halifax, but with that, a chance of some thunderstorms as well. Now for Fredericton, we'll get some relief from the humidity on Friday. One thing we're seeing across the board is a beautiful Saturday. So the weekend getting off to a great start, but maybe going to be followed up by some cooler temperatures and some rain showers. But let's focus on how we're leading up to that. You can see late tonight into the early part of our Friday, the moisture is going to be moving through. So yes, for some, it could be a little bit of inclement weather for the final day of the work week for our Friday afternoon. You see late afternoon into our Friday evening, that front and some associated showers pushing into Newfoundland and Labrador. And for our Friday, yes, a chance of some non-severe thunderstorm activity. And here's a look at some of that scattered active weather across the region. Not the nicest looking Friday for Newfoundland. And yes, parts of Nova Scotia, including Halifax, could see some storms moving through on our Friday. Now, turning our attention to those heat warnings, yes, we are still very much dealing with the sweltering conditions. And with that, with the active weather moving through on Friday, we do have some pretty gusty winds, and that is concerning, particularly for Newfoundland, where the wildfire situation is being closely monitored, and those winds can really add quite the challenge for firefighters tackling those blazes. Looking at our next 7 days, yes, starting on Sunday, cooler temperatures move in.